Hi, everybody. It's Wednesday, August 25th, the first Wednesday of the fall semester. Hope you're doing okay. It's a very strange time, stranger yet. I mean, it's stranger than even last year, it seems to me. Fewer people even on the campus, but I'm glad to see that you're here today for Wednesday Zoom. Just a reminder that for the next few, at least for this semester, unless something changes very drastically, we'll be doing campus Zooms only twice a week, first and third Wednesdays. If you have an opportunity, you'll see it on the agenda. And we have an agenda, so we'll get through it right now. There are some announcements that I would like to make. First of all, for those of you who have been in person on the campus this week, I will guess that you've noticed the cactus garden. If you have not and you are on campus, please take a walk by the garden, because what you'll see is a transformation from the overgrown, weed-infested cactus garden to what is now almost done, almost back to pristine, with Sam Camp working with a crew that has grown in numbers. So we've approved and they're out there every day working really, really hard to get control of the cactus garden before it starts to rain again. So if you go by the garden and you see Sam, please say thanks. Thanks for all the hard work. It makes such a difference, truly. Another announcement unrelated to COVID, it's that we are going to be starting our AUW campaign very soon. Aloha United Way is one of the state approved charities that we can contribute to on the campus. Otherwise, it's prohibited by the state ethics rules to fundraise as a state employee, but this is a sanctioned operation, and every year the university takes part in a campaign, very serious campaign, to fundraise for the Aloha United Way recipients. And as always, we would love to have 1 or 2 individuals volunteer, or 3 or 4, to coordinate the AUW campaign. So if that's something that you would like to do, and you could talk to Maria Gamboa and Darsh, Gigi and Joe Yoshida, they're the most recent coordinators. Angela did it as well one year. They can tell you what to do. It's very different now that we're COVID, so we're not going to be doing a whole lot of the fun in-person stuff. So I feel bad about that. But there are still lots of ways, and Darsh and Maria figured out some very clever games last year, if you recall. So yeah, we're looking for 1 or 2 or more people to be the campus coordinators. So send me an email if you and colleagues would like to do that. It would be much appreciated. Okay, let's see. In the agenda, thank you, Jimmy. In the agenda, there are some links, important links to updates on the policies, things that are relevant to us as we move forward this semester. So the new guidelines are in place for the fall, and indications of where faculty, staff, and students can get free COVID testing, and how to upload negative test results for unvaccinated employees. Also works for instructional faculty. There will soon be an announcement about a faculty support app from Instar, which will allow faculty who teach face-to-face or hybrid classes to have access to the roster and to have access to the student status, whether they are green check or not, by the CRNs. So only those faculty who have face-to-face components for their classes will have access. I expect that the announcement from the UH system on that app will be before the end of this week. And that will be a great help to the faculty as well. And that's all I have. Are there questions on what's been presented thus far? What is the significance of the green check? The green check will mean that the student is either vaccinated or has a current negative result on a COVID test. Thank you, Hal.
And Louise, for a student that is vaccinated and has proven the vaccination, and so we start that semester that way, they will still need to show their LumiSite check-in when they come to class?
They are supposed to do the LumiSite check-in, and so yes, the faculty can check for the health status, right? I don't have symptoms.
Right, yeah. And I know there's been so many things flying around. I think I'm looking at one of the most current. It says faculty are not required to check students' vaccination status or negative test results. However, if you do check, so I know that's confused a couple of us in our department. Not unusual, especially me, to be confused. But if the requirement, and I know the requirements are becoming a bit more specific, especially now that there's the FDA approval of Pfizer, that'll probably change the game a little bit. But if we are requiring students and faculty to either be vaccinated or prove negative test results, if faculty are not required, then how? I mean, our faculty is going to check.
Yes.
Our two faculty face-to-face are going to check.
Yes.
And they're going to check it on a daily basis with the LumiSite, even if you are vaccinated.
Yes.
I think we're just a little perplexed that if they're not required to do that, then if they don't, then what's the purpose, I guess, maybe is.
It's a valid question. I have asked the same question myself. So policy that says it's required for people to do that, but the policy does not necessarily require anyone to check. For students, that is. We are hoping that supervisors do check their folks, but for faculty, it is not a requirement.
That's coming from the system?
That's part of system guidelines. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It will be easier now to check with this app. So I think that there were some folks, at least that I've heard, who were very uncomfortable asking their students about that. But now they won't have to ask anyone, they'll be able to see without asking.
Through the star you're referring to?
Yeah.
So I think that was the other question we had too, is, so I'm a student, I go get my COVID test, let's say on Friday, I get my, I'm all clear. On Sunday, I show up at class on Monday. The recording of that, then, is that the student's responsibility, or with? No. It's in other words, because I signed up at, to get my test results go in automatically. Am I?
Yes. So we are sending students to Clinical Labs Hawaii. That's who the contract is with. They make appointments there. They get their test there. It's free. We will be invoiced for the test, the cost of the test. the Clinical Labs Hawaii will upload the test results. The student won't need to do that herself or himself.
Okay, we will find that on that STAR app, is what you're saying.
Correct. Well, you will only find that the student is cleared. You will not know that it was through vaccine or through test.
Okay, but still at the beginning, I mean, well, granted, we've kind of put this off for a week, 2 weeks to actually be face-to-face if we have to be face-to-face. But let's say a faculty member starts the semester by saying, okay, who of you are vaccinated? And, 10 students say, prove that they are, then all we're concerned about is those other 6 students that aren't. I mean, it does make a difference to know this up front.
Yes. I agree. The app does not distinguish the student is cleared. Only that the student is cleared.
Louise, you want me to talk a little bit about the instructor app and then share some of the screenshots and then go into the...
Sure. And Amy has a question while you're gearing up. Amy.
Okay.
Just a quick question with the FDA approval filer. Does that change anything since last year's announcement back in the spring was that we would require vaccination?
It will change things for spring. So there are 2 versions of the guidelines that are now being in consultation with the unions right now. One is guidelines for fall and the other is guidelines for spring. So with the approval of Pfizer, the rules will change, but they will change only in spring, and then vaccination will be mandatory. If everything goes okay, then I'm sorry, I'm trying to do 2 things at the same time. Yes, no, yeah, you can. In January, if the spring guidelines go into effect, then the guidelines will say vaccination will be mandatory and only religious or medical exemption will be allowed. And those folks who will be approved for a medical or religious exemption will need to be tested on a regular basis on their expense, at their expense.
Just to clarify, not guidelines, policies, yeah.
Sorry, you're right. Thank you, Brian.
So really quickly, sorry, I was trying to do 2 things at once too. We'll put out the link to this shortly, but basically for instructors, this is the instructor support app through STAR. So you would basically log in here, click enter, you would enter credit credentials and automatically see this screen, which basically associated with any class that you are currently teaching. So if you see this one, sorry that the font isn't that good, but this is a calculus class, algebra, and I don't know, math 612. But the green check, essentially that means the student is either 1, vaccinated, or 2, have either a religious exemption or medical exemption and has completed that negative COVID test for this week, right? So this is essentially, you would have to check this every day because you couldn't really determine which student was vaccinated or which student is going with the negative COVID testing. So at any time, this green check could disappear from day to day, depending on when the student took that test. So that was really to try to answer your question is, so every instructor, you guys should have access to this. And basically once you log in, you go straight to this screen. There really isn't anything in between. So this is the instructor support app, or they call it the STAR app. In case you guys are wondering, you guys don't have access to STAR, this is the one that they're talking about. So we'll go ahead and set up the link there. The other thing I wanted to share and kind of transition into it, because I think you guys were bringing up some of these questions, is basically all of that COVID stuff. So I have been trying to answer emails. So thank you for you guys' patience as I try to respond to your scenarios, and I'll try to do a whole blanket one here. For students coming onto campus, really, there's basically vaccinated students and not vaccinated. The vaccinated is the ones who have taken their tests, and then it's been 2 weeks, and they are able to kind of report to campus yet, right? So basically, than everybody else. So students who took the first dose and not the second are considered not vaccinated. All right. Students who took 2 shots yesterday are considered not vaccinated. All right. This is the part that's a little bit tricky. So for these students, once they do all their vaccinations, they can upload it to Lumicite app through either the phone version, mobile version, or web version. The mobile version, there is some issues right now. So if they cannot upload it, it's because they either need to update to the new Lumicite that was probably just pushed out either yesterday or this morning. If not, refer your students to then go to the website for Lumicite, and they can kind of do it that way. I have also sent an email to students on Monday morning to either, if they are a copy of their vaccination card in the event that they can't upload things to the website, or carry a copy of the negative test results. And that way they have something to show. Because the lag time between uploading them has varied, and I cannot really say how quick that is. We do know that those students taking the negative COVID tests at those clinical labs, those will be uploaded automatically for the students. So that was a partnership between the college and clinical labs. So if students are taking the negative tests, try to refer them to clinical labs because it's a lot easier. They won't have to do anything on their own later on. You might have some students who don't want to do the vaccination, and basically from here, you can kind of refer them to this website, but you would get to then either the medical exemption form or the religious exemption form, which this is the medical vaccination. Basically, student would need to get this filled out by their health physician, and they would submit it to our campus. The same thing, there is a religious exemption form if you go back to the website, and it's a quality form that the students fill out. There's some additional questions you need to ask. And I think the form also asks for some kind of letter from a person or leader of that religion to kind of talk about why it's an exemption and whatnot. All right, so a little bit complicated because it just came out, but basically the best site to refer to students is this one here. I'll try to get into the chat later because my mini screen here will mess things up. So I'll put it in the chat later. But if you have questions about the vaccination and testing policy, refer them to this website or feel free to send me an email. Any questions about that before I talk about something else just really briefly?
There's a question from Annie about checking employees. Yes, we expect the employees, supervisors to check the folks in their areas for COVID status. I'm not sure, Annie, about checking every day for their health status, the symptoms kind of a thing. That I don't know. What I do know is that there is a report and it would say who's doing it and who's not. But I don't know that we would be asked to do daily checks of people's symptoms, that part of Lumicite. Although when you check in on the Lumicite, it does tell you. Anybody in HR or Brian, are you aware of anything about checking every day the health?
Yeah,
question?
so when it comes to, I'm sorry, let me go backward a little bit and address Annie's question. What we are strongly advising, but not requiring, strongly advising, is that all supervisors check their respective employees in. And the reason why is it's a one-time deal. Just to see who is vaccinated and who's not vaccinated. And the reason why is you just want to make sure that you can keep everybody safe, including yourself. And because how you treat the situations and the cases and in the event of any type of infection is tremendously different. The CDC guidelines are hugely different. So that's why we are strongly advising, again, but not requiring. It's just to keep your office and yourself healthy. When it comes to checking, look, it's an honor system, but it is not against any type of policy or any type of law for you to check. If that is what you feel is going to make everybody feel comfortable within your office, then by all means, you can check. I don't advise we go around challenging everybody. that, they've done Lumicite. I think it's, again, an honor system. Lumicite is also there as a semi-gatekeeper for those from the outside, as well as our students, to make sure that we are promoting a healthy campus and can at least provide some level of contact tracing in the event, there's some sort of, infection somewhere. So, no, you don't have to check every single day, but, we would advise you check at least one time about folks uploading vaccine cards.
No, yeah. Oh,
Yes.
so no, yeah. Do our counselors have access to a list of students? I'm just thinking like in MKC, I'm having them mainly do appointments, but we have them face to face. So it seems like on the instructional side, they can check their students, but will the counselors be able to, before a student comes in, they can have a list that they can see, or they would have to check because there's not a list specific for counselors? Just ask.
Yeah, so there's not a list specific to counselors, but a list does exist that has all the students who have been vaccinated or whatnot. So I think in relation to what you're sharing there, for the counselors, if you do want a report, just let me know. If you guys are already familiar with how to pull reports in Academic Logic, look under the student management, student info, student management tab, and then look for the checkbox that says, I think it says students and COVID exemptions. Just look for something COVID. It's the only COVID one that exists. And it was just created maybe 2 weeks ago.
Thank you.
Noel, could you just go back to that star link again?
The picture?
Yeah, the screenshot you had. Excuse me.
Sorry, let me try and zoom.
No,
in.
that's fine. That's fine. It's fine. So sorry, just because I know we're getting a lot of questions from our gang that I need to try to answer. All right, so this is only available for folks that are designated as a face-to-face
Or
class.
hybrid.
Because if I'm teaching, and hybrid, if I'm teaching synchronously, I'm not, anyway. So you're saying that the link is coming out today that will provide access to the faculty?
I think the link is, sorry, no, I think the link is live. It's the announcement that hasn't come out yet.
Oh, okay. Okay, so, well, we don't know what the link is then, is what.
We can put the
No,
link.
I was going to,
Yeah, I'll put it in as soon as I share my other screens because it'll mess me up.
Okay, so regardless of sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You can finish. I'll try.
Regardless of star access, then this will allow any of the instructors in that have a
Yeah.
face.
Nava, I just put the link in. Want to try it? Oh, you don't teach face-to-face.
I know, yeah, that's true. I know now. I miss my students. It's weird to meet them via Zoom.
Denise is asking a question about supervisors of student employees. You can ask to see their Lumicite. Anybody can ask anybody that question. So if you're supervising student workers, you can say, show me your Lumicite. No, star apps are tied to CRNs. So, right. So for supervisors, it really is a question of asking the employee. So I have a couple more employees that I need to check my direct reports. I'm taking up my list and checking people off. Seen it, seen it, seen it. Okay, you're good. Are we waiting for anybody?
So I did log in. It does still take me to the roster, but it does class, no
Right.
compliance needed. Like, okay, so if I was teaching face-to-face, it would obviously say face-to-face hybrid. It's needed. Okay, then it would have a
And
record.
hopefully there are
Okay.
some green check marks. If not, that would mean all of your classes not done yet.
Well, not me, but. Okay, great. Thank you. That's super
Yeah.
helpful. So it's live now. We're looking for the announcement. this
Should
afternoon.
be, should be.
Okay. Cool.
Can we pull up our statuses on Lumicide to show whoever needs to see it when going on campus? Of course. Of course. And I think it was Angela who said, this is a culture shift. It's like, we'll be like, yeah, here's my pass. Here's my Lumicide. I'm good. Just as I was leaving Montreal on vacation, the Quebec government made it mandatory to get a vaccination pass, like a passport. And you can imagine that that is going to be something that happens a lot more frequently. More COVID questions before we move to other things. No, Ayala's got a couple of other things to share, and Carol also. So COVID questions. I know it's really hard. It's very fluid. Things change from one day to the next, I promise.
Hello.
Hello, Lisa.
So testing requirements, how soon, within 72 hours before they step foot on campus, if they're unvaccinated and need weekly testing? When I talked to HR this morning, they didn't seem to have a absolute timeline, but we are thinking of at least 72 hours in advance, which is consistent with the travel policy.
You have to have current negative results to step on the campus. So
Okay.
it's the same like travel, right? If the PCR test takes 24 to 48 hours, that's how far in advance you need to make your appointment so that you're ready for class on whatever day it is you go to campus. So it is backwards planning for sure. And if people are going to Clinical Labs Hawaii, which is our contracted entity, right now, the last time I checked, which was last week, I didn't even check this week, there were no appointments till September 1st at the Kahala one. So it does require some planning to get the appointments in a timely manner to be sure to be compliant when you go to class. You're right.
Yeah, so we're literally talking about our students stepping foot on campus on Monday. Therefore, I need to let them know you need to be tested probably by Friday in order to get those results. So
our contract with CLH states that they will provide the results within 24 to 48 hours. Everybody that I know, which hasn't been too many who've had to test, has been actually less than 24 hours, which is pretty good turnaround for a PCR test. So I would say Saturday would probably be okay for them, Lisa. And I'll also point out that even though they created a UH portal to sign up for the COVID testing, they do have walk-ins as well. And so if you can find a location for those who need to test, if you can find a location that is fairly, was not that busy, like the Kahala Mall location, which is conveniently hidden and tucked away near the old movie theaters on the second floor, you can walk in. They're very open in the morning.
Thank you for that. And again, I do anticipate the testing going up as people are having to comply with this. So I get it. At the airport last week, it was an hour from the time I stood in line till I got tested myself. And yes, the results were back within 5 to 6 hours. However, that was almost 2 weeks ago now. And as you've seen, the more testing, it's so whatever guidance, but my feeling is at least 72 hours. I don't want it to be a week and a half ago. You know what I mean? Like we probably will have to have both faculty and students testing weekly.
Yes.
So until everyone is fully vaccinated. So I just want to be clear, if this body doesn't have the recommendation, then I'll put that 72 hours in and we'll just see how it goes. But thank you, Brian.
Yeah, and I don't want to, belabor the point, but if any of you know of individuals, coworkers or students who have to test, it's timing. Timing is a huge piece of this because your test is only good for 7 days. So if you, for instance, say you're an employee, you have to work Monday through Friday. Like Lisa was talking, Friday or Saturday, you take the test. Okay. So if you take the test on Saturday, your result is only good until the following Friday, which means if you have to come to work on Saturday or Sunday for whatever reason, you cannot, because you're taking your test on Friday. It's going to be a downtime for your test results to come in, and then they'll be back in on Monday. It's actually always going to be it's never going to be the same day if you have to be on campus every single day of the week. It's a timing is huge on the 7-day shelf life on the test results.
I
Dave,
have a question
Stephen,
about this, you guys.
go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I read the UH Manoa portal on this whole testing thing for COVID-19, and I was a little, I guess, apprehensive about the payment for the tests. It looks like there's $75 a test. It's paid for right now, but nobody knows when the test will no longer be a freebie and we run out of funds. And then if you don't want to be vaccinated or you can't and you have to be tested every week, you're forced to pay $75 a week for testing. Do we know anything about that?
The free testing is for fall 2021. It's not going to stop in the middle and say, oh, sorry. So it will continue for all of this fall semester. Come spring, anyone who is not vaccinated and is approved for medical or religious exemptions will need to be tested on their own dime.
Oh, okay. So that was the second question I had. If there's a student I have that has a religious exemption, they still need to be tested, yes?
Yes.
You're either
So that adds to
vaccinated
their
or
cost.
you have to be tested.
Right. So for spring, those students would have an added cost of $75 a week or so for testing.
Yes.
If we're still doing it. Yeah. Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
More questions on COVID or students or vaccinations?
Just a quick comment. If you do not say that you're UH or you're getting the payment through UH, Clinical Labs in Kahala Mall charges $120 per visit for the testing,
Thank you.
not 75.
Yeah, 75 is our UH rate, contract rate.
Right.
So when you go up, if you know anybody who goes up, and tell them, make sure to tell Clinical Labs that they're from Honolulu, CC, so they get charged for it. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's all programmed in, and we're gonna, Dave, to be clear, we will, at least for this semester, we're not going to run out of funding because that's the requirement of one of the uses of our HERF funds, and we have enough to cover, the folks that we are projecting that need to be tested on a weekly basis.
Thank you. Okay, let's make sure we get to Noel's other things and Carol's things. So Noel, you have two other things: participation verification and the emergency aid website.
Try that again. In the link there is the emergency aid for students. What this is basically the HERF money that's set aside for additional aid. So again, this is going to be open to any students enrolled in classes. Also, would be open to students who did not file a FAFSA, because that was an issue last time of filing a FAFSA. So basically, any student who is enrolled and they feel they need additional aid because they're affected by COVID, go ahead and send them the link, and they will be able to apply for funds there. The other question is, did I send an email about this to the students? Not yet. I'm probably going to do this either Friday or Tuesday, only because students have been getting way too much email since last Thursday between the testing, COVID, and everything else that's going on, and participation verification. I don't want to put this one in there, so I'll give them a separate email just so they know. But for those of you who have been asking if there is funds available, yes, there is, and go ahead and share that link with them. Okay, now I'm gonna summon Maria here, and then I will share PV. Actually, I'm not gonna summon her, she's not here. Participant verification is still going. I will share some important dates. Real quick note, if you are teaching a class that is the first 5 weeks of the, so basically started now and it will last for 5 weeks, just remember that you, I think you need to start putting in the verification today through the 30th, as I try to frantically check this small screen for the dates. So basically, those of you who are teaching the 5-week programs that started this week, basically your box starts 8:25 to 8:30, right? Everybody else, I will pull up a link so you guys have it. And then everybody can kind of see the important dates again. So again, participation verification is just verifying that students have been attending. Students who are not identified as attending or participating in class will be removed. Let me get, this is really hard with only one screen. All right, everybody can see that? This is basically the participation verification date. So those of you in the traditional semester-long classes, faculty verification will start September 1st through the 7th, right? So if you guys remember, basically this screen pops up, you go ahead and just, I think it's, sorry, it's either in Lau Lima or the, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know where the screen appears. But you have these dates to go ahead and ensure that you are students are participating in your class. For those of you who are not in semester-long programs, basically the chart kind of goes step by step, depending on what POT you're part of. So that will correspond with certain dates. All right, so that is participation verification in a nutshell. I can put that screen up if you guys wanted the link to participation verification. Oh, thanks, Jerry. My UH grade / class roster. That is it. Oh, sorry, I will make another note on behalf of the BCSA office. We do understand that all of these new COVID testing, the rules, the exemptions are in fact new to students, and a lot of them cannot comply. If you're finding that students are withdrawing either this week or next week just because they couldn't keep up with either the testing or the vaccination and they want to withdraw, and you still want to try to give them a full refund because it's really things out of their control, just communicate with their office. These are situations we expect to work through. Are getting inquiries, but it's just we consider this whole COVID thing extenuating circumstances, especially the testing and requirements. So try and be supportive as I can. Just try to reach out to us and we'll see what we can do. And that's it.
Questions for Noel? Okay.
Yeah, quick thing. I mean, even if our students participate, like all of them, go ahead and check the box, because if you just don't do it, then the system counts it as them not participating. So it kind of ends up on Jerry's side to disenroll again. Okay, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Carol, Oahu back to work.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I just want to share with you that the University of Hawaii Community Colleges, again, are collaborating with the City and County of Honolulu to bring to everyone a number of different classes off all community colleges continuing education units, including Kapiolani Community College. And for our campus, we have at least 4 different health programs that are being offered, as well as IT courses ranging from A+ through Security+. We have cybersecurity fundamentals and project and certification and so forth. So in order to look at what we're offering, as well as what the other campuses are offering, you can go to a link, which I will put into the chat box, and see what those are, and also there's there. So if you know anyone who is currently employed or underemployed, please let them know about this wonderful that project, HANA Career Pathways, which was that $13 million grant that spans 3 years. And there are courses under there as well, and it's the same website. So if a person participates, they get to take these classes at no charge. That's the best part about that. Finally, I just wanted to mention that the back in the day, 1946 fax has been rescheduled to September 30th at 5:30. I'll put information into the newsletter about that. And that's all I have, Louise. Thank you.
Thanks, Carol. Questions for Carol?
Sorry, can I just take back what I said about the emergency app portal? Just as I shared it, I got another email saying it's not working right now and they're fixing it. So hold off on sending students. Once it is ready, I'll send an email to students. Also put something in announcements, or you'll hear from me next week. Again.
Okay. Thanks, Carol. All right, I think that exhausts all the information that we had to share with folks. Anybody have other questions about things we may not have talked about, or you all of a sudden thought of something that's connected to what we did talk about? Guess not then. Well, all right. We made it through the first few days. We got a few more days to go for the end of the first week. It was a tough one. And I'm sure the faculty and all the staff who are working directly with students are working, I don't know what that was, working through the issues. I know it's hard. This is more uncertain than other semesters for some reason, just because of new policies, new guidelines, new things happening all the time. But we will help each other to get through all of this, and with the ultimate purpose of always supporting our students to their success. So good luck for the rest of the week, and we won't see you until the first Wednesday in September. So anything that you need, you let us know by email or phone. Okay. All right. Then you can unmute yourself and say goodbye, everybody.
For those of you still trying to figure out the first week, the first Wednesday, that's next week Wednesday. So Louise was trying to throw everybody off.
No, because Louise didn't even realize that Wednesday is next week.
Have a good semester, everyone.
Bye.
First week of spring.
Bye, everybody.
Oh.